Hello, everyone. Welcome to my stream today. Thank you, too, for those of you who are kind of offering me feedback to what I should be doing today. App Boy, thank you for responding to my request to see if anybody is interested. So thank you so much. But first of all, to App Boy, I hope you get well soon. I know for those of you who aren't on my Discord server. And by the way, if you want to join in any conversation during off hours and everything, I'm always there, or mostly there, or at least if you send me a message, I'll be able to check it on my phone, even if I'm not online. So yeah, App Boy, our good friend App Boy, who's also himself a streamer, he has unfortunately came down with Omicron. So looks like though, thankfully, it doesn't seem to be like way too serious, but it's still causing him fatigue. So I can understand. So, and for those of you, if you're really not feeling well and all that, whatever it is, right? I hope things will be better for you. And again, welcome to my stream. I know it is holiday time, so I don't know how many of you are actually watching, but as I mentioned to my friends too, is that I'm actually, let me kind of quickly. So that's my Discord server. So basically on my Discord server, I also mentioned if even if I'm like talking to myself, I think I will still run this stream because I just think it's good sometimes to be more consistent. So yeah, yeah, wait a second. How come it is so strange? I'm noticing that my stream looks like on IBM developer is stopping, or are you having such issue? Because I'm multi-streaming too. So and I'm also checking, and it's kind of strange. Let me see. Let me see what's going on. And if you are on my on my IBM developer stream, it's really strange. Anyway, so if if you're on my IBM developer uh, stream, I guess there's no way you can get back to it. But if you hold on for a second, let me kind of double check too. And I'm not sure. Like it almost seems like, from my perspective, I'm still streaming to all channels. So it's either my Twitch, my personal Twitch, or the IBM developer Twitch. But I'm kind of noticing that it is not showing for some reason. It's kind of having some issue. Uh, so let me. Okay, so it looks like I'm back. So I think there might be some glitch or something. So sorry about that, but looks like I'm back there. So if you're still on IBM Developer, or if you plan to, you can just refresh your screen. I think for some reason, sometimes there are issues, but I think the thing is on my personal Twitch, it looks like it's okay. So anyway, if you can want to join me, I mean, I think if you are joining me from my personal Twitch, you're already there. If you are on YouTube, then you should also be there. And if you are on the IBM Watson Media, which is ustream.tv, I should also be there. So, and let me know too if there's any issue of any kind. So let me kind of make sure. Okay, so nobody has said anything, but I'm assuming that you're here. So anyway, I think App Boy kind of mentioned about would like to hear about journey of becoming a speaker. So let me kind of like share with this slide deck, right? So it's with my team here at IBM. We actually did what's called like a speakers clinic, for folks who are interested in becoming a speaker. We haven't like published it outside, but I believe, here on the Twitch stream, I can share it too. It's not like a secret or anything. It's more like just helping whoever wants to become a speaker or interested in speaking, wanting to see, kind of getting some sort of like starter material. So I can kind of quickly kind of step to it. But first of all, too, let me maybe share. I think like App Boy has mentioned that he would like to hear about the journey of the speaker, right? I think I can first share with you my experience too. So I joined IBM in 2018. So like roughly like, well, in the summertime. So like 3.5 years now. So I have to admit that, before that, I was never a kind of professional. I didn't get paid, to be a speaker. I was not an advocate. I was actually a software engineer before, and actually most recently, right before IBM, I was a technical architect, and also some, coding hands-on too. And also I've also like managed like offshore teams as well. So a bit more on the software engineering, but also for production IT shops like that. So, but prior to that, don't get me wrong, I was a developer myself for, I'd say like more intimately, would be like 20 years or so, right? So different places I've done coding for like products a lot. Yeah, that's how I started too, more for products, and then also for IT shops that are developing application systems or any kind of systems, right? That's for the companies use or internal use or producing product. And then I then moved to Chicago in 2014. And here too, there are a lot of trading firms. So I've actually worked for trading firms too, like doing futures and options trading. And then, those actually are very good experience, because it really, I think if you ever have a chance, right, to work with trading applications, I think it's still a very good opportunity, right, if you're trying to decide. Because as such, right, we know that we live in a world, we're kind of capitalist society, right? Almost all countries now, I think, except for a few. But pretty much too, we know that this capitalist society business kind of like dominates the world. So the way to kind of move things forward, I think no other industries are kind of as much as kind of being like a driving force behind all of the currency, all of the the money exchange and everything, other than nothing would be more powerful than the trading industry, right? I mean, I think the trading concept, right, it starts all with, in the old times, before, I guess, when civilization was born. we realize that nobody can do one thing, right? Or nobody can be a supplier of everything that you need. So we need to cooperate as a society. And in order to, us trying to be able to operate, right? And people need to make a living. So it's more like we're all specialists. We're all doing different things. And we say we're computer people, we are service provider. So we charge people for a service, either for that, or if you're producing a product, like some of, us too. And IBM, for example, we have the WebSphere team. They're producing WebSphere. All these, well, you get the point. So we're producing products and we sell the products and we get money. So this kind of a bargain kind of society, and then currency was born. And then, okay, so fast forward to now, then, it's really trading, that concept of doing trade, stocks and futures. Futures and options are newer, as you may know if you're familiar with that. But, fundamentally, when we talk about trading, people all think of stocks, Anyway, so I work for a futures and options trading firm. And so it is very interesting too. It's sort of like product, but they build upon stocks, but build upon the maturity date of different stock products and like that. So I'm not an expert, but I've worked with that. So anyway, so that's me. So I and then going back to me, why I brought it up, because I work for trading firms, and I feel it is a good place if you want to learn. Really doing computer is kind of most like kind of somewhat of a demanding form, because you want to, as you know, right, when we do trading, it's like involving multiple parties of buy and sell. So there's a lot of that kind of transaction involved, and it needs, super speed, right? You need to make, especially electronic trading now, you want to mimic like the trading floor, right? And stuff. If you want to sell something, you raise your hands, or the hand signal, right? Anyway, so we kind of do it in electronically. So as you can see too, like systems have to have very like low latency, right? Very small delay and high frequency, because you're expecting, if it's like height of trading, there are lots of activity happening and all these. So anyway, my point is that I think doing trading applications are kind of good way to get your hands into some of these very kind of puristic kind of like computer concepts. It really is interesting too, that kind of a low latency, high frequency. And in fact, the trading firms that I've worked at, they actually, well, at the time anyway, they did not, even like use like, in the pure trading engine, they did not use any framework, that's out there. Spring, for example, right? Well, at the time it wasn't Spring. But it was like more like early forms of Java application server. They did not even use that because they determined that it's too slow. So what they did was they developed their own server. It's really, kind of proprietary, but they developed their trading algorithms and all of these kind of server, right? They do it on their own. So they write their, they wrote their own threading package, for example. It's really efficient. So because too is that sometimes if you kind of like purchase products that are off the shelf, so to speak, right? And no matter what, right, there's still that layer of abstraction that it does that will add to performance. Now, you may say, okay, well, it's only 1 nanosecond, but guess what? When you're in trading environment, 1 nanosecond can be 100K, something like that, right? It costs that much money. So they want to have almost like zero latency. So they develop their own threading package and everything. Well, actually at that time, right? So maybe these days we do have engines that are built upon libraries that are capable of really closing the gap on that. But I'm not sure. I haven't followed up with some of my colleagues who are still at trading firms. So I'll be interested to find out if they have adopted some of these modern day technology. But anyway, okay. So I was going to talk about speakers. So for me, that's my background. I've done these applications, and I wouldn't call myself like expert into developing some of these, because I was on also other aspects of trading too, as you can tell, right? Trading, if you say that, okay, trading engine and managing all of your subscribers, your traders are very important, no doubt. On the other hand, there's also the aspect of security, right? And regulations, like government securities, are very important too. So I actually also have, besides like helping out with the trading side of things, I've done that. And then I also work on regulatory systems. So those are like dealing with government, overseeing, right? Not just government, but different agencies that are overseeing trading activities. Those are like the monitoring aspect, monitoring. Well, of course, too, there are also operational side. That's also very important. but there's also the business side of monitoring. It's what regulatory systems we're doing. So fairly complex. So anyway, if you have a chance, work with trading applications, I highly recommend just to get yourself exposed to that type of a processing. It is pretty fascinating. So if you're interested in technology, so that's just some kind of a kind of a what you call it, that's sharing with you. Anyway, I kind of get into talking about becoming a speaker. So for me, I was never really speaker. I was more a developer for longest time, and then I also worked for companies such as telecom industry, right, the cell phone provider. That's where I was right before this. But at that point too, because I was kind of becoming more of a technical architect, so I needed to start to do some presentations. And I also, as a matter of fact, if you have a chance to, if you haven't done it, right, and if you're interested in becoming a speaker, I would also recommend you joining a Toastmasters club. I'm not sure because some of you are also like from other countries, so I believe that Toastmasters should be like everywhere in the world now. In all countries, there are chapters, local chapters, not just big city. Maybe it's like enough people forming a group. You can also join Toastmaster, so that helps you too of like developing skills in speaking. And the thing is, with Toastmaster at the time, what I did was I completed that first session. And at that time too, it was like 2016 or 17. That's when I started practicing speaking and joined the company Toastmasters Club. And I completed that first set of 10 different exercises, and they're really good because it helps you to speak. You have different practice, and then there are peer reviews. I think anything when you involves peer review is really good because you have the same group of people also learning, and then there's also a leader that kind of helps with guiding and moderating. It was really good. I had a really good small group, of maybe like 5 or 6 of us consistently going, and then different people joining. That was really good practice. And you practice, right? Like things like, you use hand, eye, how do you communicate, your gestures, and like using slides, using different things to help with your presentation and that kind of stuff. So it's kind of a basic of speaking, but then it doesn't help you, right? If you want to get into specific areas like technical technology speaking, then it'll be different things. So anyway, hey, Fusnavo, thank you for joining. So anyway, I should kind of like my banner. I didn't know I was still kind of up in here. Where is it? Where's my banner? Okay. Let me kind of hide it now. Okay, so that was my Discord. Hello, Fusnavo. So I don't know if you just joined or not, but was just gonna talk about speakers, and I was kind of talking about, you can look for local, if you have never kind of been a speaker, would like to do that. If you have some local club, right, local chapter and Toastmaster, I would highly recommend you join that. But the thing is it's true is that after you step through some basic kind of speaking thing, I think it's about time then you should really kind of join your local maybe user group. I hope, let's say for me, a Chicago Java users group, in fact, I need to set up is a lightning talk, right? So we welcome members to come and do these short talks. I think the short talks are very, very helpful, like 5 to 10 minutes of speaking. You just like pick a topic and then you present on it, and those are really good as a practice. And then you don't have to be as worried about preparing something way too deep, right? So because to me, right, if you speak, you have to worry about your speaking, the presentation, all the techniques. At the same time, if the content side is also very important. But in lightning talk, you don't have to worry about like a full-blown presentation for the content. You can kind of present, like prepare enough content, and then you can do a lightning talk, just kind of introductory type of concept, or just one particular feature you want to talk about in 5 to 10 minutes. Those are really good too. And then after that, then you should practice more like going to meetups, local meetups, technical communities, and do presentation. And when you are ready, then you can start to present, to like more kind of serious like conferences, right? Sometimes too, conferences can be kind of like regional or city or local. You can do those first and then slowly kind of expand into like, international or national and then international. I think I would go that route. And for me, because I was doing more of these local things, meetups, and then eventually too, I joined IBM, right, an advocate, and that's when I started doing professional speaking. And then you have to write proposals. It's just a lot more of those steps. And okay, let me see. And yeah, Busnabo, yes, sorry. You stopped giving talks and people are paying for it. Oh, you've been talks and people are given a cake for showing up. Yeah, that's right. And you know what, and I agree with you. I also, even though, let's say, right, I'm like a, in some ways, this is my job, as an advocate, I go and do speaking. Yes, I'm getting paid, but I don't, they're interesting too. Some of the conferences, they actually do offer you money, but because I work for the company doesn't allow us to do that. There are different ethics, right? Business ethics policy. So I had to decline because I was saying that, okay, I'm representing my company already paying me a salary to come out and talk. So I would not accept that from that point of view. But I agree with you, Fusnabo, and I like the fact that if we're doing it more for in some ways it's my passion too. I like to go out and share my knowledge and everything, and I'm already representing a company, then I don't really feel that I need to accept any money. Maybe sometimes they would send you a gift. I can see that you can kind of, in lieu of money, you can actually accept a small gift like a t-shirt or a sweatshirt, something like that, right? So those are kind of good things, and I totally agree with you, Fusnabo. So you should actually do talk. I mean, sounds like you were giving talks too, which is really wonderful. I think you should do some show yourself. Yeah. And Max, you're here. Hello, Max. Welcome. And then Fusnabo. Yeah. I like that. You said this is Fusnabo. If you didn't like my talk, eat my cake. I think that's a good idea. Yeah, that's right. That's funny. Yeah, or don't throw your cake into my face or something, right? Yeah. Anyway, but yeah, the people listening are given a beer and a pizza for showing up. Yeah, so kind of, yeah, that's true too. Yeah, the people listening, yeah, given a bit. So it's like meetup. Actually, for me, right, I myself really miss. That's the thing with this COVID situation, is there are some pluses because now I'm getting audience from all over the world. I have folks from Asia, from maybe less of the Asia. I think the time we normally run is kind of not convenient, and I haven't got as many of the Asian audience. Sometimes maybe India, but I think though, now I think of it, when I did some meetup through the IBM developer, I did have folks from Malaysia. So, but then in the Chicago Jug, I haven't seen anybody from too many of the Asian countries yet. I hope to see. But then I also get folks from Africa, from Europe, from South America. It's really been fun. But on the other hand, then we can't kind of like come together, have beer, have pizza, have things like that. And especially if you come to Chicago, if anybody comes, we have to take you out and try out our Chicago deep dish pizza. So if you haven't tried that, I think I highly recommend. So it is very good. So yeah, thank you. So all right. So, and let's see, timeless potato. Yeah. Okay, you are here too. Good. Your talks is that is so funny. Yeah. So this is and timeless potato. I love your comments. You always have such great insight right into things. That's funny. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Oh, you. Oh, yeah. Food Snabble. You told me about the at NDC. I think is that the Norwegian Developer Conference. Yeah, that paid a lot of money, was not fun. Oh, really? Wow. So did you talk at the NDC? You must have, right? Yeah, yeah. I think now I remember you told me about it. Although you said NDC, it's not as much of a Java developer conference. Am I correct? So then I think you send it to me and they only accept very few speakers, right? And that is very interesting. But you can kind of educate me on that again, or send me the link. But anyway, yeah, that is very interesting. So okay, so yeah, so let me see. And cool. Okay, then thank you. Thanks for all your conversation in here. Would you guys like to join me in here? Let me know too. And I need to check my let me see. It's kind of funny because I'm multi-streaming, and then I realized that some messages. Okay, so here I'm on StreamYard. I'm seeing messages from all of the channels, but then last time after I was done, I look at the different individual channels. They don't always get all of the messages, even though it's really strange because I like to kind of make sure I haven't missed anybody's kind of messages too. But so I apologize if I miss any of your messages. If so, please do not forget to kind of join me on my Discord. And from there, I will definitely, be able to trace back to. So, okay. So, and then let me kind of then talk about like conference speaking, right? Like I said, right? Let me kind of, let me kind of hide this again. And let me do this one thing. And Let me kind of make sure I don't kind of block everybody. Maybe I'll go over here. Okay. Okay, so like I said, right, these are like internal slides, but they would be okay for me to be sharing with you here because it's very relevant. And as you can see, the name here is Graham Charters, and so now he's a product manager, or what we call like offering manager, right, on all the WebSphere, Liberty, Open Liberty, all of these products. So he was the lead developer advocate before, then he's now in that. But he wrote up this beginner's guide I thought was really good, and we can kind of go over too. So okay, so this thing is like, it's always this instill this fear, right, when we have to become a developer, or if you're not just developer advocate, if you just want to go out to speak, it's always very scary, right? And because then I think that's the thing, is that we always kind of, our perception, right, is kind of like in a big stadium, a big, like, this, in like this, right, something like this, you got like 200,000 people or something, well, not quite, but maybe like a 60,000 people or something, or like a giant stadium, or like a concert hall, you get a couple hundred people. That's the perception. But in reality, is that it's like just, like this, because if you speak at conferences very often too, right, you have kind of, different tracks and then different breakout rooms, so you usually would have kind of more focused audience on your talk. And say for me, right, my biggest ever talk, I think I had, at a live audience when I was in Poland. It was the DevOps Poland. And actually at first too, they put me into a regular room, maybe like this, but came to find out that the number of people register for it was a lot. So then they switched me. So I had to kind of work out some details, and they said, well, I think we need to put you into the main stage. And then as it turns out, and in fact, if you kind of go to my personal Twitch, that one banner picture of DevOps, that's where it was. And that's why I put it there, because it was like intimidating at first too. And it was also my first year of becoming a speaker. And it was a bit scary when I walk onto the stage, because when you're in a kind of almost seems like a concert hall. Well, it was also a concert hall in Poland and Krakow, right? And really huge. I think they said was probably like a 800 or 900 people, like auditorium. And while it didn't fill all of the levels, but there were a lot of people I'm aware of. I think something like 300, like 400 people. That was like the largest I've ever had, and it was intimidating. But the audience was really nice too. So it wasn't so bad at all after all. And to me, I think after I've become a technical speaker for a long time, then you kind of know sometimes, like, you can interact with your audience. So then people are actually quite interactive, and that's also something I'm missing so much. When I'm doing this right online, I can't see people, I can't see you, and I don't know who's there. Even if you see me later or watch it on demand, it's really hard, not able to kind of see everybody. And let me see, okay, so let me see, Max also said something too. Let me kind of make sure. Okay, here, speaking is a little piece of a deaf advocate job. Yeah, it's I say, it is, in some ways, I think, it depends, right? Some developer advocate will normally, well, let's say you can go out and speak. Well, let me put it that way. I think as developer advocate, there are essentially three major areas, right? One is the developer advocate going out to do presentations, doing outreach, that type of thing. That's one. So a lot of the content development in there too, presentation, maybe doing a workshop, things like that. And then the second thing would be you kind of running meetups, right? Not just meetup, maybe you're running events, you're hosting events, and those actually, it's very busy work, as you know. If you need to run any events, you need to coordinate. Either you do the work or you ask somebody, you delegate, then you have to coordinate. So a lot of coordination. And in my case too, in my C drug, not everybody can help every time. So some days too, I'm also the person doing all the work. So this is a lot of things. And then the third thing is really developing the content in terms of, in the form of your writing blog articles, or, like this, right? I'm doing streaming and things like that. But this is kind of interesting, doing like online Twitch like this. To me, I feel more like a combination of me doing the presentation and also the content, kind of like, I think some ways too is kind of like presentation, but you also have to worry about the content side. So it's not like I come out and just say something vacuum, like a vacuum or something. It has to make sense, has to be, relevant for what you're looking for. That's helpful, hopefully. So yeah, thank you. Thank you for asking. And it begins when you realize when you should talk about. How do you find a good subject to talk about? Okay, that's your second part of your question. Yes, so for me, say for example today, right? I think because I've been doing this Twitch for over a year now. I think I started in August or June or July, August, right, of 2020 when the COVID kind of started. I remember it was scary for me at first too because I didn't know what to expect and everything. And also doing live coding was never my cup of tea for the longest time. Because the thing is that I can do live coding, but even when I was a developer, I never liked having people stand behind me and watch me type. So it took me some time to get used to. But in terms of, okay, finding a good subject, so it depends. The nice thing, for me, right? And if I were, since I work for the WebSphere team, then I know that, okay, I have to be talking about Open Liberty or Microprofile or Jakarta EE. So I usually from there, then I will kind of pick something. For example, well, I was supposed to be still working with the JDBC. So something like I decided, okay, let's do something with database, data source. We'll work on that and figure out some topic. Or I kind of wanted to say, there's so many aspects of it. And what else have I done? I've done something on gRPC, right? For example, in early part of my stream, with the WebSphere team, and then there are different things. So I think of different topics that I can do. Now the thing is too, say for today, right? So I was thinking, okay, F Boy was saying that he likes to hear about speaker's journey. So I thought, oh, it will be good, to kind of share some of this information. So if some of you are interested, and of course, Max, you are already a developer advocate, so you understand that, and so yeah, and it's interesting. I think the more I'm doing it, then the more I realize there are many topics that I can come up with, based on my knowledge. And you want to read about what's going on out there. And for example, 2 weeks ago with the Log4j, and that's when I was immediately thinking, let me say something on the stream. And just so happened that I was going to go look for some examples and then kind of test out. And then Steve Poole was there. So then Steve kind of was saying, oh, he can join me. And that was really perfect because that's his specific area at Sonatype. He's doing Java security and kind of DevOps security things. So I let him talk, right? Things like that. So sometimes too, for example, stream like this, I can invite people to come. Last week, I had Guy Royce who came. Although I don't know if Guy is here, I haven't seen him. But if Guy, if you want to join, let me know. But I know this is like still the holiday week, so not everybody is around. So no worries about it. Like I said, I'm going to continue streaming on my personal Twitch. So let me do this. Let me share my personal Twitch. Did I share that? Some of you maybe already are there. Okay, I guess I didn't. Okay, all right. Let me kind of do this. Let me kind of like hide this now. Okay, I was blocking my face. I realized. Yeah. Okay. And Fusnabo, you're saying that Fusnabo says I tend to pick a subject I enjoy, then submit and see if someone likes it. True. I think you can also do it too if you are not a kind of a developer advocate, right? Because sometimes as advocate, I know that there are certain topics or product areas, technology area I need to do, then I have to develop topics around it. But if you're like a regular developer, you can present something that's actually your side project, right? That you can share. And yeah, it's like what Fusnabo was talking about, a subject that you enjoy, then you can write up a talk and show some code sample. I think it's always being appreciated. Yeah, of course. I think that's a great idea. So, and then you said what? Yes, finally the Log4Shell Slack channel at work has gone idle. Oh, yeah. Okay, so you were very busy with it. Yeah, that's why I remember you couldn't join. You must be like busy helping to kind of resolve issue, right, with Log4Shell. Okay, yeah. But Fusnabo, do you work with Java as well? Or are you mostly on .NET right now? Kind of interesting, but yeah. Yeah, and I see it now. And Max, yeah, you're welcome. Thank you. Would you like to join me, Max? Yeah, and let me know too. I can send you the link, right? And over there, let me kind of make sure I have my Discord over here. See, I have like multiple things going on. And of course, too, now I actually need to clean up this laptop. I need to be returning. And as such, I just want to announce is that this week is my last week at IBM, and I will be joining a new company that's based in Germany. So I haven't disclosed it to a lot of people yet, although some people needed to know, so I told them. but I will be disclosing it. But as you can tell, in the second half of this stream, you can find out exactly where I'll be working. And it's IoT messaging, by the way. So I'm really looking forward to that because I think will give me a different aspect of doing development too, and it will be a bit more also with IoT messaging, as you know, is making use of event-driven pops up kind of model. That really, I think, is really my area of great interest is to do that kind of a work, right? Pops up, event-driven, things like that. So yeah, so I'm looking forward to that, and I do expect to kind of be also able to maybe develop some interesting example code and things like that, and also working with devices, right? IoT is dealing with devices. So I have yet to place an order for, say, Raspberry Pi. I want to do some work of how do you implement, right, a broker of, an MQTT broker. And basically, I'm communicating with different devices, right? These are small devices, and I have to, kind of communicate, the device sending messages to the broker. And so everything has to be very efficient. So that's when like MQTT is actually a very efficient protocol. Last week, I talked a bit about that too. So this week, I'm thinking, I started looking into it because even I have to start installing it. So why don't I just, that's what I'm thinking is why shouldn't I share it with you as I'm kind of, even I'm learning it. I want to install it, and I haven't got the Raspberry Pi kit yet, but I will. And so tell me if you're already working with Raspberry Pi or Arduino, something like that. But my plan is, like I said, right, I identify some devices that I'm going to buy it myself, so then I can install them and kind of try things out. So anyway, so that's that. Okay, so let's go back to the speaker side. All right, so now in reality, oops, it's here. But okay, so now as we kind of talk more about the speaker's journey, so it's kind of, I think everybody will become nervous. I tell you, my very first time when I presented a lightning talk, and that's when I was started helping Chicago Java users group. Actually, it was funny. I started kind of attending users group quite frequently in 2014 or 13, kind of towards that. And then I think between 2013, 14, 15, I was so active in different meetup groups in my area in Chicago. I was going to the, Java users group. I was also going to some JavaScript because I was also doing some work as a full stack developer. I also then went to some JavaScript group. It's a great group too out here in the Chicago suburb. I still am in touch with these folks, but like I said, I haven't been working with JavaScript. I did a little bit, so I joined them. It was a great group, and I did also signed up for lightning talks there, but I first did the lightning talk at Chicago Java Users Group. I still remember January in 2016. So that was 5 years ago. Now, I did a small presentation, and at that time too, I worked actually with a software called Mqtt. I don't know if folks you have used it or something. It's integration software. It's kind of very interesting, Mqtt. If you have worked with it, because think of it more like kind of integration Lego pieces, right? They also kind of have that concept. I think, in my opinion, as I kind of look back after having worked with pops up type of thing, it's sort of think of them more like like a connector pieces, right? You can connect different things, and they have this engine in the middle that kind of translate the messages and all of these things. It's actually pretty cool, that concept. To me, I think the thing with software is that we are moving away from the early days of proprietary, as we know, right, of all the proprietary architecture and everything. All the systems needs to be able to communicate. So MuleSoft too is sort of this integration piece, in the middle that connects different things, the messaging part. So that's what I worked on. But anyway, that was my first talk. I did a bit of an introductory to MuleSoft at that meetup, and I remember I took it was only how many slides, because it's a 5 minute or 6 minutes, I was told, to do the talk. I think I spent 2 weeks on preparing for that. I was like nervous. I practiced. I sent my draft over to my good friends for peer review beforehand. All of these things, it's just like I still recall. It was just, kind of being nervous. It's normal, right? And it's just that now I think back, I think the fear was more about you worrying about, well, at least for me, I was like, okay, am I going to be saying the right thing? Am I even going to remember what I'm supposed to say? Even if I remember what to say, am I talking about things in the right sequence, right? All these things were just kind of bothering. And it's interesting because then, since I became speaker 3.5 years ago, then I became like less worried about that because I've done it so much that okay, it's kind of like practice kind of help you kind of becoming better at it. So I wouldn't call I'm like any kind of like expert or something. There will be many more you know good speakers too, like Bantat, for example, Mark Heckler. If you folks, if you know Spring, right? Mark used to work for VMware or Pivotal, and with the Spring, now he's at Microsoft doing Java, but he's still doing a lot of Spring stuff. So great friend of mine, and living not too far from me in St. Louis, but it's like 5 hours driving, but it's not too far anyway. So Mark is a great guy, and he just recently wrote a book on Spring Boot that's got translated to Chinese. And in fact, he was talking about it. He took a picture of that book, and it was Spring Boot, right? And got translated to Chinese. But his name didn't get translated, so I saw it, right? And on Facebook, I said, Mark, you need a Chinese name. So I gave him a Chinese name. Anyway, so if you guys want a Chinese name, I can try to find some words, kind of combination phonetically, I can translate for you too. Anyway, so okay, I drifted away again. So, okay, so being nervous is normal. And let's see. Okay, so here we go, right? So it's a good thing, right? We need to, how to do it is to prepare, prepare, like I said, right? When you first time you do it, especially it might just take a bit longer. It's okay. You go back, doing multiple drafts. And that's what I did too. I remember, like I said, 2 weeks, I started thinking about it. And then I was like, oh my gosh, you get nervous and you can't even sleep, kind of like that, it's all normal. Then you practice, and then go to 10. This is like, go to 10 is go back. In other words, you need to do this kind of iteration a lot, right? So, and then now, the next thing is like know your audience too. And I think it is actually very important. Sometimes we feel like, yeah, we are going to do a presentation and we have certain assumption. But the fact is that, thing is too, as I'm also finding out too, sometimes I start to realize that different conferences, they may have different kind of a focus, right? So for example, I've been to conferences, especially I think in the Midwest region of the US, that seem to be more of folks that are Microsoft developers, C# developers, .NET, which is actually, to me, those are great too, because I met people, say even for example, 3 4 months ago, I was in Kansas City, the developer conference. It was really great. The Java people were smaller, the community, but still, there were some Java people, but the bulk of them, they were .NET people. And I met people, right? We were sitting at lunch tables, we were sharing information, and I was learning about F# and C#. They were talking about the functional side of .NET, and that's when I got introduced to F#. And so I think Snabble, you probably are familiar with it, but so that's really nice to me. I feel that it's no one tool is the best. To me, I'm just opening. It's like a great way to learn. I mean, I was there to do a presentation, and I did it on stateful microservices and also some reactive programming. So I talk about those. They were Java, but I also then go to other people's and talk with people that are .NET and learn about things. And when you think about it, we're all trying to solve problems, but just using different tools, right? Different kind of libraries. Of course, not the same, not exactly the same, but what they are trying to accomplish is the same, right? But just different ways. But anyway, so know your audience too is important, because then right? Say for example, I knew that there would be more people in .NET, that are not Java people, then I could not make as much assumption that people already know some things. So I would take time to explain some of these things. For example, that are like specific to Java, for example. Now I can't think of what it. Well, the thing is too, it's different ways of how we do things, right? I would kind of just kind of have some extra kind of information that to tell people about it. So know your audience, and then and also some conferences too, they tend to attract more of beginner, maybe introductory and that type. Some are maybe more advanced developers, so you have to kind of know and how to adjust the content. You need to cater to the right audience too. So that's important. As much as you can find out will be good. So that's good. Okay, and then this one is actually very good to use humor and tell stories, right? And that nobody can say no, right? Yeah. What is it? Okay, yeah, I don't know if what you mean, Mindy. Yeah, you can tell me. Yeah, or are you just saying that you're reacting to the picture? But anyway, yeah. So I think it will always work, and say for example, I was just recently at the Jakarta EE, right? They have the Jakarta one, they call live stream, right? And actually, I got scheduled at the last session of the day, and it's already very late in Europe. I wasn't sure if there would be people in Europe watching, or maybe even in the US, and it was just later in the day. So I did kind of go in and said, okay, let me make sure that nobody's gonna, I won't put you into sleep and things like that. And then I tell stories, and I think having stories, are always kind of nice. If you can share with some experience that you have that are relevant for your talk, is always useful too. So okay, so that's good. And if you can, right? Say, for example, I think who are some of the speakers in Java that usually are human? Venkat, right? Venkat also like says some things that makes you laugh too. It's really really good. And it's always kind of especially if you go to conferences, right? You usually keep going. You go to three talks. Starting with a keynote and then three talks and then have lunch and then go back to three or four talks. People get very tired. There are new things, so you want to have some ways of keeping people engaged. People kind of not fall asleep essentially. So that's important. And now, okay, then there are feedback too. Now, feedback, right? Okay, so I think that's what the my initial kind of fear when I kind of analyzed, like my own journey in the very beginning too. I think I was mostly afraid because I was just so nervous about what if people give me bad feedback? What if people say something isn't right, or what if I make a fool of myself, right? Like that, right? So we all have that. But the thing is, though, as I'm learning, is that it's actually the best thing you can ever have if you go and do a talk and then wait for the feedback, because it's a learning opportunity for yourself too. But it's kind of like you don't have to pay for it, right? You're listening to different people giving you feedback. Now, that's the thing too, is that what I had found is that sometimes the audience, is not, they are not kings, right? Yeah, I mean, they are entitled to their opinion, but some people may like it, some people may not like it. And, you always get that mix. Even if you do a good job, there will still be people not liking something. And the thing is funny is that I find, um, I actually have also learned to be careful whenever I, come in to do a talk. I might give a disclaimer. I may say, okay, this talk is, I won't be talking about such and such, or I will be talking from a perspective of a, let's say with a beginner like that or something. And you already sort of like giving a forewarning, right? And I would tell people, I said, if you don't think this is the right level for you, feel free to leave and go to another presentation somewhere too. I won't be offended. So that's also very good. So okay, given that, I learned, and then I started telling people ahead of time, this is what my talk's going to be about, and then choose to stay or not, it's up to you. And then if people chose to stay, but then there occasionally, right, I would receive feedback from people that says, well, you didn't talk about this, that, all these. Now, the thing is that you will always get people like that. For some reason, either they did not hear what you say in the beginning, or it's just that people like to complain. I think you can't help it. There's always some people who like to find fault. So to me, I kind of basically have developed thick skin. Yeah, anyway, I call thick skin. Well, it's really not less about thick skin, but to me, I'm thinking that, okay, all I'm telling myself is that I am going to get better. What can be worse? You can throw darts at me, right, so to speak, or throw darts at me and complain, but I'm going to get better next time. I think we need to. That's what I kind of attitude I have, is that I'm not. I don't come in as though I'm conquering the world. I'm just here to listen to your feedback, and then people can say whatever they want, and I take it as a grain of salt, essentially, right? Some people just like to complain. That's just okay. I listen to it. I take what makes sense, and what doesn't make sense, I just ignore them. It's okay. There are always people like that. And then, of course, there are always people also give you good encouragement too. And that's what I found every time. There are always somebody that would appreciate. And I think those are really nice. And, whether they mean it or not, but I do truly believe people mean it. And even I go to conferences, I listen to people. I always like to give encouragement, because, I like to be positive, right? And if there's something I find is not as good, I might say, well, this is great. I talk about the positive, then I say something that they can improve. I think it's normal. So to me too, is that I'm just open to that. And over time, I kind of get, really like not take it too personally. Let's put it that way. Because I look at it, it's like, what can be worse? It's just that even if I don't do good, I have another chance in the future. I can do it better like that. So that's one I think. Okay, timeless potato. Oh, sure, sure, sure. Okay, sorry. I didn't know it was okay. Maybe is it better? Okay, you can tell me too. I'm sorry. So yeah, I hope it isn't like kind of like too much. Sometimes it's funny. I think because I'm doing it differently now. Is it better? Oh, okay. Thank you. Thank you for letting me know, timeless potato. Thank you. Okay, so that's that. I hope it is helpful, like I said. Okay. And plan for failure. Okay, that's interesting. Well, to me, right, you can't help it, especially if you're going to be showing live coding. Now, here on Twitch, I find it is actually nice because I think the platform is a bit more like, it's treated like kind of an open lab. Come in and you can try things. If it doesn't work, people all come, you all jump in and help, and that's really great. But in a real conference, it does get shaky. Say if I go into that big concert hall venue, was nervous. I think I can't remember if I did a lot of coding. I did some of it, and thankfully I think I recall myself I did okay. It wasn't like very it wasn't like things didn't work. But the thing is too is it is very true. I have been to conferences in which I'm presenting and then some things didn't work, and then some other problem and it's processing too slow. Yeah, that's kind of like shaky. But again, the more you do it, even if it's like not working or something, you kind of start to figure out some ways to. And I remember myself too, because I look into the time. I might say, okay, this isn't working, but let me move on to the next step. Step that won't be dependent on the previous step. I'll just leave that the way it is, and then move on to the next step, and then show something else. And that will also kind of help too with not like wasting people's time, right? Because we all know we go into presentation normally, like a in-person conference, you usually get 15 minutes or so, and kind of like 40 minutes presenting and 10 minutes for Q&A. So very limited time. And doing coding actually takes a lot of time too. And also always plan. I think it's the best is always plan on something not too complicated, and that you have exit plan. If something doesn't work, you can, if you have time. It's also good is to record. If let's say then your demo is depending on the internet, and the internet can be spotty, right? It doesn't work or something. Then if you have a recording, would be good. If you can record like a 10-minute thing, you can always show that, kind of in place of any live coding. That will work too. So yeah, if you have time, right, that would be good. Okay, so and actually too, yeah, and yeah, okay, so over here too, I was just kind of sharing this, Okay, yeah, so if you want to read about it, I think these are more like, internally. I think it applies to everywhere, right? Sometimes too, when we do slides, we tend to be very wordy, and that's always like not very good, because then because you want to show things to people and you want to be talking, so you don't want to take time. Like over here, if I'm talking, maybe you're already reading a lot, so you want to kind of keep it kind of less words, so then it doesn't kind of distract people, because they're trying to listen to you too, and also read at the same time. So yeah. Okay, so that's interesting. So stop reading. Okay, so okay, then that's all. So less is more is what it is. We want something kind of to be kind of simple is what it is. So okay, and tailor to talk to the time. Yes, and that is very true. I think after you've done a couple talks, you start to kind of get a good kind of a sense of time. It's again, everything comes with practice. The more you do it, and like I said, right in the beginning of your talking journey, you can always go and talk to a meetup group and present to them, or a small group. And like I said, try the Toastmasters. I think those are really friendly. Usually there are people from all walks of life that can be there. And they sometimes meet at libraries, things like that. So it's very low cost and kind of very least threatening. I think, start with those. And once you're comfortable with the speaking style, practice all those, then you can start to do the technical talk, if you'd like to do it like that. And that's how I began my journey. So, okay. And okay. And first time speaker advice, look both ways. Okay, so it is very true. You want to take your time, don't rush through. And also, especially with lightning talk too, you may think that, okay, let me present a lot of things, but no need to. Let's say if you want to talk about specific topics, maybe you can highlight a couple key points that you want to talk about, and then from those points maybe just talk about 2 points, depending on the length, right? You can say 3 key points of this topic, and then you essentially, if a 6 minute talk, you can spend 2 minutes talking about each point, or kind of slightly less, because you always want to prepare. Like even lightning talks, the first minute or so, you want to do some introduction about yourself and why are you interested in all these things. Maybe spend 30 seconds, and then you start your talk. So then 2 minutes on each point. They can go really, really fast too. And then if you want to practice, like I said, I'm here. Join my Discord server if you want me to be helping for you when you practice. I will be very happy to help too, and kind of help to review and then give you suggestions too. So yeah, feel free to do that. Okay, and then what else? Be conscious of what you wear. That's interesting. Well, of course, now we're in a kind of online format. It really doesn't matter. I mean, I'm here, I'm wearing a sweatshirt, right? I'm sure two folks too, you are just at home wearing t-shirt and whatever. But of course, if you go to an in-person conference, and very often developer conference, as you may find, right, it's also quite casual. You can wear jeans, but just still be respectful, business casual. Jeans, t-shirts are okay usually for developer conference, but sometimes too, if you're presenting at some conferences that are more like maybe have business executive, then you can still be business casual. Just make sure it's not disrespectful. That's all of the occasion. So um, tech check. Okay, yeah, and that's very important too. If you're doing in-person conferences, right, then you have to make sure, okay, and for example, a lot of places too, they have like the projector that have like these days, I bet there are a lot more that are HDMI connector. Now, for me, I get these that are, actually, I can't unplug them, but I get these that are multiple, kind of multiple interfaces. So there's a HDMI, and there's also even the older, what is it called? That one is, wait, yeah, DVI, even DVI, and then what is, I forgot the name. Okay, so that's I'm kind of looking at this, right? I have HDMI, I have VGA. That's right. So VGA is the older interface. So VGA, DVI, and HDMI. I have this kind of combination connector. So you want to have that for the video, and then with the audio too. Usually they would give you like headgear, what you call like microphone with the headgear thing. You can speak into it like that. And then there's also sometimes you can have a remote control kind of click. You have to basically connect your system to this clicker, so then you can kind of advance your slides without having had to be sticking to a keyboard. But it's okay too, even if you don't have that clicker. I'm trying to think of what else too. Sometimes too, actually in my case too, because of experiences, if you use the video connector, for some reason, sometimes these connectors may not work. So what I've done is that I purchased another one. So I have two. And then I've come across in which cases in which one doesn't work but the other one would work. So it's always helpful. If not, you can always ask other speakers that can loan you theirs if they are not using it, right? Oh, hello, Hetty. Hetty, you're here too. Thank you. Yeah, thank you. So Hetty, I'm talking about like speakers, kind of information for speakers or the speaker's journey, just kind of like a quick overview. So nothing too fancy in here. Okay, so tech check. I think that's all right. The audio, video, visual, like that. Yes, pretty much that's it. And then bright lights. Yes, it is true. If you go into like big concert halls, sometimes they do have big flashlight. And some conferences, interestingly, in Europe especially, I think that was in Poland, Krakow. There was one called Decon. You were in the movie theater, and also Lithuania too. I was at. Well, I'm trying to kind of recall what. Oh no, Belarus. Yeah, also at a movie theater. So when I walked into the stage, I could not see my audience because they were like big spotlights over you. So that can happen too. But like it's more like if you're you can be applying to conferences that have get that kind of a setup, right, in a movie theater. That's kind of exciting too. But for me though, I actually prefer more like the the ones that I had, in the picture in which you have small rooms and people can interact with you. And I more feel like it's just a talk, people can kind of interact rather than you on the spotlight. It's then I can't see people. It's just harder. It depends. Okay. Okay, so rooms are often not full. It is actually very true. I've been to conferences in which they're like set up for 200 people, but maybe only 40, 30, sometimes even like just 20 people show up. Actually, what was I? It was actually at the Kansas City one. My second talk, because it was the last session of the second day, most people already left. And it's late in the day. Like I said, there weren't as many Java people. So the crowd for all of us Java speakers were in like maybe 3 or 4 rooms. And when I checked with the other speakers, they also were the same. Like at that second day, the afternoon sessions, people were getting 15, 20 people per room. So that's what I also had for my sessions. But to me, I don't get bothered by it. But because that's not the point, right? The point is that I would be there to present information that are hopefully useful for people if they come to me. To me, I don't think it really matters. What matters is that whoever comes to you can get some good information, and then you do a good job presenting. And I think that's important. It's also another chance for you to practice, right? So okay, then let me see. And who else? Okay, I am not sure what you are talking about here. Maybe you can explain. Can you explain to me? Yeah, I don't even know. I think there's Cyrillic. Anybody? I think last week when Guy was here. Guy was translating for me, right? I don't know what this means, but if you can tell me, that would be good. I don't know if you're a bot. Maybe you're a bot too. So, okay. All right, then you can be the speaker if you want to, if you want. So, okay. Now, okay. So next thing is find a nodder. It is actually very important if you can be at conferences and like you have people and that's what I found too. Normally people sitting up front, they are really interested in your talk. That's what I'm finding. And then you try to also establish some eye contact with some of these folks, and they are agreeing with you. That's always nice, because I think it's natural that we are always looking for feedback, and kind of it is nice. So okay, they are not ignoring you. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, sometimes too. I also realize, right, especially nowadays, everybody heads down and you don't know, and they're like doing their phones and everything. So that's okay. They are not ignoring you. Even for me, I don't worry. Sometimes too, some conferences in person, they would actually videotape all of the sessions so then people can look at it after too. So for me, it really doesn't matter. Even me doing it online, I bet some of you are doing other things. That's all okay, right? And like I said, it's just good if people wants to listen to me afterwards. You're welcome to, or rewatch it too. So okay, and then there'll always be walkers. That is so funny, this one. And then okay, there we go. Yeah, that's why there'll always be, actually it says walkers, but actually stalkers, right? Yeah, but there'll always be some people that kind of like behind the scenes. And but the thing most important of all, really have fun. This one is a picture from DevFox, and I don't know, has anybody been to DevFox? Maybe mostly I think the European countries. Otherwise in the US too, there used to be DevFox in San Jose, California, but I heard that they ran it for 2 years and something like that, right? 2 3 years, but wasn't very successful, so they discontinue it. But for me, I've been to DevFox in Poland, in Ukraine, and where else? Actually, they have. I didn't go to all of the DevFox, but I've been to Vox Days, which are the smaller ones in Belarus, and also I think did I go to Bucharest? I forgot. Oh no, Vox Days. What was it? I forgot. Bucharest, maybe. Yeah, and anyway, some of the smaller, though. So Fox Days is a bit more of a focused, like 1 day event, but DevFox are usually 2 days to 3 days, a bit longer and more speakers and everything, more full blown type of conferences. But Fox Days are more, yeah, as the name implies, is more like a 1 day event. And normally too, they are really good. DevFox I highly recommend if you have a chance, right, to go, and it's just pretty amazing. Yeah, and also it's more focused on Java, but I think there are also topics now that are not exactly like Java focused too, but there are other things too, but still primarily a Java conference, and it's been very good and attract the best from the industry too. So it's very good. Yeah, and so yeah, so that's the slides. I figure I can share some slides too while I'm talking. So okay, so do you have any questions? I maybe I put you all to to kind of sleep or kind of doing something else. But yeah, I don't know if App Boy you're here or not. But I hope you are. Even if you fall asleep, don't worry about it because you must be tired too. So yeah, and you can give me any kind of kind of feedback on this speaker becoming a speaker. Like I said, right? I also asked on my Discord too. I've actually asked if anybody wants to do a speaker clinic, right? If you're interested, if you want to become a speaker, even just like one on one, if you want to prepare some things, you want to look for somebody to review, and I can help out too. So just let me know. Okay. So all right, yeah. Okay. So with that, this one is done. Then let me go over here. Okay. So that's Chicago, and then that, yeah. Okay. So last week, I think I talked about Hive MQ. I don't know if are you interested in it? Yeah, would you like to kind of talk about Hive MQ? So as such, right? So that's the company I'm going to be joining. So um, anyway, as such too, I wanted to point out it is actually MQTT, right? So if you go to these are like the different edition too. So yeah, so like I said, I'm interested to talk about it because part of it too on the IBM platform, because IBM, we actually have also the IBM Cloud. Let me kind of do this one thing. Now HiveMQ I don't think is necessarily the openly, I think, having a partnership, but the thing is that we have Node-RED, right? So that's not exactly like yeah. Okay, so this one is okay. So there's Node-RED, which is like a no code or low code type of development kind of you know uh, what you call it, development tooling, right? It was actually developed. Oh, okay, all right. I actually forgot my. Okay, I'm gonna have to look up. Why didn't it? Oh, you know why? Because okay, hold on. Let me. I have to log on from another because this is my different profile. And where did it go? Here we go. Okay, here we go. And okay. Oops. All right. Let me kind of. I have to do it like that because I'm doing. Yeah. So I should do it over here. Cloud. This is like cloud.ibm.com. I have different profiles. So this one I already have saved it in this profile. So on the IBM Cloud, right, you can actually, again, if you are interested too, please, I mean, there's really, I still gladly promote IBM products. I think it is very good. So cloud.ibm.com, if you want to sign up for a free account, and there's also $200 credit too. So that should be a bot. Oh, okay. So the previous, it's actually a bot, right? Okay. Thanks, Hetty. Thanks for letting me know. That's what I kind of figured too. So okay, so I just share with you the cloud.ibm.com. If you want to get a complimentary account, you can sign up and get a $200 credit too. So okay, so what I wanted to share with you is this guy, and actually uh, dashboard. Okay, sorry, this is the dashboard. I was going to say that services. Okay, so this is like what we have, as advocacy team. We have this list. So you find that there are lots of installed like services already. But normally too, if you log on, you won't see this many things. But like I said, what I wanted to find out is that I actually didn't prepare for this part, so bear with me a little bit. Node-RED, okay, and development tools somewhere. Actually, where is it? I actually have a Node-RED, unless somebody remove it for me. Okay, here we go. I think I can search too. Apps function namespace. Oh no, sorry. Clusters. Okay, so I have these clusters. Oh, I think I might have removed my Node-RED. Oh, okay, yeah. So see, I actually have my OpenShift cluster. I think I try out, right, the micro profile health implementation to show you a couple of weeks ago. So I still have that with my cluster. But the thing is, what I wanted to show is that there's a Node-RED. Let me do this. So this is kind of easy, no code thing. Yeah. So um, but it's of course it is generate essentially it generates node, and the good thing about this is a no code development tooling that's actually developed by a previous IBM person, Nick O'Leary, and also I used to work with Nick on my old team. And then there's also another person too. They were with IBM Research Lab, and they were kind of experimenting with developing Node-RED, and then that became eventually a product, and it's open source too, which is nice. And then, but since then, Nick kind of formed his own company. So he's a good guy, yeah, based in the UK, just so you know. So if you search for him, right, Node-RED, and actually, let me kind of search over here too, so that if you're interested in kind of Node-RED, but again, right, local programming for event-driven application. So why I brought this up is because I believe you should be able to define your devices, and then also have something like an MQTT broker. Uh, you can do that, with your coding and with kind of a low code thing. So, and over here, right, it's basically browser-based flow editing, and then well, it is Node.js, not Java, but I think it doesn't matter, right? You can also kind of do it, right? Oh, so over here, you can actually have it's built on Node.js, so you can run locally, and you can have run it in Docker or on a device. Over here, it supports like Raspberry Pi, BeagleBone Black, and interactive Arduino, and Android too. In the cloud, right? IBM Cloud and Amazon AWS and Microsoft Azure. And this, I think, Sense Technic Fred. I have never used it, but okay. So if you're interested, right, let me kind of share with you too. Let me kind of note that. So, like I said, right, if you want to do it in the IBM Cloud, it's kind of a managed kind of development platform. You can also do that too. So that's why I'm kind of like sharing with you. So we can kind of go back in here. Okay, so if you go back to the IBM Cloud, you can actually create one. Okay, and it's included with Cloudin. Cloudin is essentially you can get the free tier, although it only allows you something like that, five simultaneous connections. So the pool is actually very small, but it's again, if you just want to do something experimental, you can do that. But like I said, Cloudin's, yeah, you can use Cloudin service to store the application flow configuration too, and add services, generate, download the code, and using the IBM Cloud Developer Tool CLI to run and debug locally, and deploy then using the DevOps pipeline and all these things. So we can kind of get started too. You can do a create. Actually, I could do that too. Let me kind of do this, right? Oh, see, I did one for the girl con. So I think somebody might have removed. I don't know why they removed it, because otherwise too I was able to develop a quick app with it too. But actually, you know what? I'm not gonna call it girl con. Just say Twitch, something like that, right? The resource group I can use default. Okay, just kind of like a Twitch. Okay, Twitch platform. It's only Node.js, so all these. So light is the one that's free. Oh, although it doesn't let me. Oh, you know why? I already have a light plan. Okay, so I can't do it. Oh, that's bummer. Okay, but you get the idea. So if you want to try it with Node-RED, because I was hoping. Actually, that's another thing. Why do I do that? So I had it. Let me see if I can get to my other one. Okay. Let me see. I thought I searched for it, but it didn't return. Maybe, like I said, I don't know. Sometimes I think they are cleaning up things, so kind of it got wiped out, because I did this conference called GirlCon. Is for STEMs, what you call, not stem cell, no, STEM education for high school students, like girls, female students. So I did that, and I created that Node-RED kind of example, but I think it's been removed, unfortunately. So, but actually, why would they do it, right? See, the thing is, I think it would have been shown in here, but on the other hand, then my Cloudin, how do I remove? So it's telling me that I already have a Cloudin database, but they remove it without my Cloudin. Let me see if I can remove, because I like to be able to do that too, because it is kind of quite interesting that you can kind of quickly set up your Node-RED and then do drag and drop essentially, and it generates the code for you, right? So let me see. Okay. I think, yeah. So for some reason, I think it's still identifying me having a Cloudin, but then I can't get to it now. Uh, that is crazy. Okay, all right. I think we have different space, right? Namespace. Let me see. I wonder. Okay, I think this one is actually our. Actually, this one is a different space. That's more for, I think, the specific like workshops. That's why I wouldn't be able to use this anyway. So this other one would be, but then I can't get to my Node-RED. This is kind of bummer, because here I am trying to define a new Node-RED, and it requires a cloud, and then it's not letting me do it. Okay, sorry about that. Let me play around to see if I can try to remove my old one, so then I can create a Node-RED and then a new cloud. That is, I think these are just apps and service. Let me see if I name it differently. So, huh. Okay, so if I don't choose anything, okay, here we go. Maybe this one. That's kind of weird. I thought I turned on my space heater, but it smells funny. I hope it's not, because it is kind of cold, as such. We finally get our snow yesterday, and I am so sorry. Maybe if I can't figure this out, then I won't be able to. Yeah, see, the Cloudin is already listed here, but somehow I cannot get to my old thing. I don't think it's this guy. Let me see. I don't think DMV. I don't even know who this is, but let me let me kind of figure out. Um, okay, so there's no kind of indication, right? There's no indication of when I do that. But let me launch the dashboard, and just to see if it might be mine. So okay, so these bots are getting to be quite annoying. So I'll block them. Sorry, but so, and because it's very annoying. But okay, so I think it's somebody. So I really shouldn't. Oh, maybe this one is mine. No, this one is not mine. It's somebody else's. Perf test. I didn't do something like that. So perf test. Let me take a look. Okay, so maybe not then. Okay. All right, then that's fine, because I just had a feeling that maybe I name it differently. So it's not anyway, but unfortunately I'm not able to create a new Node-RED. I was trying to kind of do that, with us, so we can define the Node-RED. But anyway, my point is that, and I don't think we actually have Hive MQ. So if I search for Hive, I think at this point too, there's no proper integration with the Hive MQ part. Although for IoT, right? At IBM now, I think like I said, right, using Node-RED would be nice because I believe you should be able to, even though it's not officially integrated, you should be able to define your HiveMQ, the endpoint, and be able to then leverage on the Node-RED and use the flow, the drag and drop, and kind of create a flow too, and still be connected to an MQTT broker too. So that's what I was trying to find out. But okay, so here too, if you're searching, right, I think there are different things you can actually work that are IoT related. That's interesting. IoT HTML5 phone. So, all right. So, and then there's also Internet of Things platform. Actually, let me kind of take a look at this. Not sure what this is. Okay, so it's the hub of all things IBM IoT, and then you can set up and manage your connected devices so that your apps can access their live and historical data. So okay, so updated. So this service is there. I bet we can do it, and that's light. You can have 500 registered devices and a maximum of 200 megabyte of each data metrics too. Um, I am not sure. Okay, deleted after. Oh, that might be. It says light plan services are deleted 30 day after, after 30 days of inactivity. I think that's why my my Node-RED got removed, I bet, because I had the conference back in August. So I think they removed it because I didn't do anything with it. Huh, I just wish they had told me. But then now what happened, right? I also defined a cloudin, but they did not remove the cloudin. Or somehow there's dangling connection to it. So they only they only got rid of my Node-RED, but they didn't get rid of my cloudin. But now there's no way for me to get to my cloudin and remove it. Now I cannot actually do anything. Yeah. Anyway, but that's all right. How about this? Let's try this thing now. I'm just like more curious just to see, you know, what this is, right? And this is I can get a free light plan, so why not? So service name, yeah, okay. I can just say uh, IoT test, right? Platform. Let's call it like a platform. Okay, let's call it like that, and then just say IoT. Uh, and this is called advocacy. Okay, something like that. So now the thing is, I want to pick this, and I've already done it, and I'm choosing, yep, Dallas South. That's fine. That's closer in my region. I think these are just that. But the thing is, too, is oh, I have to choose this. I have to say, basically, these are all free. It's great. Okay. And, well, sorry to be like kind of getting digress a little bit, but I was hoping to get to the Hive MQ part. But let me also kind of take a look at this, right? Okay, so these are IBM Watson IoT Platform. So we can launch it from here and manage devices. That is pretty cool. So the light service plan, this is what I'm looking at, provides a lightweight development environment to get you started with the connectivity capabilities of Watson IoT Platform. Okay, so I have 500 registered um, devices. So okay, cool. Let's try to launch it. How about that? Okay, or let's see what the plan is too. Okay. Okay. Okay, so I'm choosing this, but the thing is, oh, I see. So okay, that's no harm. Basically, it's a test throwaway kind of thing, right? I wonder if I can kind of just create connection, right? It says search resources. So I think my resources will need to be like predefined in here. Okay. I can't just like say create a connection, it looks like. Right. So when I create, I have to have the resources already defined. So that's the key is how do I define my resources? So this is just a platform. So in other words, I have to launch. Let's launch it and see what happens. So, what? my user session has expired. I just log on, right? I was still doing something. So anyway, okay. So in other words, I do need to connect. So I could actually connect my Android to this too. But let me kind of take a look, right? I can launch. Actually, I can. Let me connect with my. I have this an old device, right? Not too old, but an LG, right? Thing. So that's kind of harmless. So let me do this one thing. I wonder if I do. I can connect, but it looks like I do need to sign in. So let me kind of sign in. Again, all of these things I've never done it before. I'm just discovering today. So I just wanted to uh, kind of take a look. Free. Okay, I kind of choose a free thing. Okay, cool. Okay, I can actually create a device type. Huh. Okay, so the table shows a summary of all the devices that have been added. It can be filtered, organized, and searched on using different criteria. You can add by using the Add Device button or by using API. So let's kind of use this GUI. So add. Okay, device type. Let's create a device type. I just don't. Okay, so let's say this is my LG. That's my LG Android tablet. Right. Okay. Let me kind of make sure too. I need to turn on the. Okay, so it is connected to my Wi-Fi now. I just want to make sure. Okay, and so there's this one, right? So this is my here. You can see. So that's my an old kind of LG tablet because I was helping my old company, the cell phone provider, and then they gave this to me. I think it's some extra like inventory. They gave it to me as a present because I helped them with some service, right? So on actually it's actually on a Black Friday kind of service. I kind of step in and help them, and so they gave me this free LG tablet. It was really nice, but it's an older one, right? It's running old Android. I don't know if we can, but that's kind of ID. I don't know. I don't know if I can get it, but I don't know what the ID is. So let's say some kind of random string 1001. How about that? Oh, that's a lot of work too in here. So I have to add all of these things. Okay, then in that case, let me give it a try too. Why not, right? Actually, I still want to get to the the my MQTT thing, but let me kind of out of curiosity to see if I could actually add my device to here. So just a minute. Sorry if I'm kind of like taking a bit of a longer time. I have to search for things. Actually, I can't find the serial number. There are other information, but not my model number. I have MAC address, serial number, it's build number, kernel version, all of these things. But okay, I cannot find the serial number. Update center. Oops. Okay, I turn on my developer options, and I already did. But it's not showing me device serial number, so I can't. I don't know if it's required, but let's kind of like uh, giving it a try. Uh, network. Okay, I have all the. Well, it is connected now. Well, wait. Actually, battery. I should have it kind of like prepare a little better so I can show you things on this machine, on this little thing, but I can't right now. Serial number. I cannot find the serial number. It's not legal information. Now I go into like software has Android version, which is really old. This is an Android 4 device baseband version, kernel version, build number, and the hardware. I guess unfortunately this guy. Okay, let me kind of take a look at this. Because I cannot find my serial number, or is it serial number is usually on the device? But actually, I can't find it either. No, it's not on here. So maybe some of you can advise me as to how I can find my serial number. Yeah, there's no way I just cannot get. But there is an model number. Let me see if it might still let me. Okay, so that's the model number, and my LG tablet. Oh, tablet. Not really. Is it called tablet? I don't even know. I think these are tablets. So hardware version. So hardware version. I don't understand if the version. Only has model number, Bluetooth. Okay, there's no. Not running Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, but it's not. Also doesn't have a hardware version either. I guess there's no hardware version. I don't know if I can, but let's see. You can add metadata to define custom attributes. You might want to add a company division. All these things must be entered in JSON. Okay, so no need for all of these. I think I can enter it later. Is what it is. So um, that's all right. I guess next. Oh, then there's also auto-generated authentication token. Generate service to. Okay, all right. Two options. So now, okay. Okay, so I will have them auto-generate. I think if I say next, it should generate it. Okay, okay, cool. View the metadata. Okay, that's fine. I don't know if it will work or not, but let's see. Let's see what happens. So, okay, so you register your device. Okay. Okay, oh, so I see. So it doesn't have to be like all there, but I thought maybe it would recognize, right? There are certain hardware or firmware type of information, but apparently not. So, uh, okay, so this is the thing. Okay, let me kind of save all of these in a separate. Even though, well, this is no big deal because these are just test data. So even if you have it, the information is I don't worry about it because uh, these are not. Let me kind of save that information. Okay, and then I know I'm kind of going over time in here. Device, kind of on the IBM IoT platform. So I wanted to save all of these information and my token. Okay, and then connection information. Okay, that's important too. Okay, right now is okay. How to add these to my device? So that's the thing. Huh. Okay, so there's another step too that I could use. So okay, I'll just kind of go back in here for now. Okay. Okay, so it hasn't been edit device information. Oh, okay. So all of these things are not like set in stone. I think that's where I wasn't sure. But apparently it doesn't need to have all of these things in place. So okay, so obviously it's not connected yet, but I just have added it just to be here, right? And all actions, device types of that, and the interfaces. Okay, all right. So this is just the platform, and then this is me, the administrator. Browse the API key, access management. This I can actually play around with it a little more later. These are different roles and then the usages. Okay, so that's actually an IoT platform. It's not, it's got like, I'm not sure, I'm trying to launch it, but I don't think, okay, so that's fine. It is here now. I can just, okay, here. All right then. Okay. All right then. Well, the point I was trying to do was trying to add a device, and then was hoping to actually use Node-RED to also show you how you can build out a flow, right? I was hoping to maybe try out with the MQTT broker to work with Node-RED. However, I'm not able to do that. So okay, then in this case, then let me kind of get back into what I was going to do, which is to talk about MQTT. Let me do that, and let me kind of go back here. Okay, so first, right? So HiveMQ is a company that makes MQTT, or they code, right? They're a provider. They make MQTT broker and also the MQTT client package and all of these things. So let me kind of take a look into here. Product, right? HiveMQ. So essentially, it's MQTT broker. I think last week too, I talked a bit about it too. It is, that's the main thing, MQTT. And why is it? I may be repeating again, but let me actually turn on the light, because I find out that the sun has gone down, and then it's kind of, I think my screen might be a little bit soft. So give me a minute. Sometimes too, then otherwise my screen kind of looks kind of different, right, without the lighting and everything. I noticed last week too was a little bit kind of not very good. So okay, so sorry about that, a bit of a delay here and there. Okay, so okay, so wanted to take a look into it, right? So essentially too, HiveMQ is used for building, enabling your devices, right? It connects all of the devices, and they are also like small devices. So last week too, I talked about like why is that important, and a bit of a background. MQTT came out initially to address the needs for oil pipelines, and at the time, right, in the late 90s when it was developed, it's by one of the IBM researcher. He's still with IBM, by the way, and he's based in the UK, Andy Clark, and also his partner. His partner did not work for IBM, but they both work on this MQTT um, protocol. And they name it MQ is because then, as such, right, MQ came from IBM, the message queuing technology, right? And so they wanted to build, to essentially define this protocol. Is sort of, they use the MQ name, called like telemetry transport. So essentially too is to enable oil pipelines, and they want to do the measurements as they travel down the pipelines. And because to the okay, the initial design of it was also kind of take into account the fact that the network resources, the bandwidth and memory could be very limited. So they designed with that in mind, and so that worked out nicely. And then fast forward to nowadays, right there, with the internet, with all of the clouds and everything. We have more, well, there are also then Internet of Things, IoT devices came into play, machine to machine kind of, development. So the folks too at HiveMQ, actually, they look at MQTT, they saw a good opportunity to leverage on this initial kind of protocol and extend it to support IoT device to device communication. And they leverage on the PubSub uh, model, right? So publish, subscribe, and you leverage on the broker in between. Because too is that you want to have different devices talking, and you kind of all going through the broker too. That's the idea. So publish and subscribe type of event driven technology. So that's what it is. And so yeah, so let's talk about it. And why is it important? Because it is designed in mind with the fact that we're dealing with small devices, very limited capacity. The network is not reliable, so you need to worry about that. And what if network get disconnected? So they have what they call like QoS, right? If you're familiar with quality of service, these are like mechanisms that are built into the protocol to help if there are any kind of network disconnection. So the information is still being saved. So then when you network reconnect, then it be and the and essentially messaging can resume. So that's an important part of it. And why is it actually designed for being very efficient for doing devices in these kind of constrained environment? Is that the payload and the header is actually very small. The header is only a 2 bytes. So as you can see, if it's like 2 bytes, it's very small. So you don't worry about, let's say people can say you can use HTTP, but as such, right, HTTP, yeah, it is stateless, but it's kind of a lot heavier, as you know, right? HTTP, if we all doing web stuff, we know that it needs a lot of information in your header, or at least enough, right? You need to have, all of these like destination, application type, and all of these things, all of the type information needs to be carried. So it's just a lot heavier, right? And HTTP is also known to be not very reliable, so you can't really rely on that. But MQTT is smaller, header is only 2 bytes, and just smaller, everything, and it has this built-in QoS type of facility. So, and also the nice thing about it is that it doesn't matter. Your data can be, in any format too. But of course, you can use JSON and you can use strings and all of these things. So it's pretty nice. It's agnostic to the type of data that it carries too. So as you can see over this. Kind of picture in here, devices, right? It can MQTT client. It can be like small things, like medical devices. So I think it is actually got a good potential, because if you think of, right, think of like social impacts too, right? For IoT kind of devices, um, you can have like senior people, right? Senior citizens, if they live by themselves, especially, or you yourself, we all have in our families have older people in our house, and if they have to be by themselves, or even like by themselves for a little bit, you want to have some way of them being able to signal somebody if something goes wrong. So if you kind of imagine them carrying, devices that basically, if say a grandma fell down, God forbid, fell down, got hurt and cannot get up, or maybe whatever reason, maybe they have like pain in the legs or something, they want immediate attention, you have devices that actually can communicate, right, and guarantee the type of communication. You can actually, have IoT devices. So that's why too MQTT is kind of rising in importance too. We know of, all of the big enterprise days, it's still here. We still need to take care of, I talk about stock, trading and all of these things. You need big devices and handle, huge things and all these things. But the fact is, we live in a world, there are smaller consumer electronics, things like that you can rely on a protocol like MQTT to play around with. And like I said, even for me, I wanted to kind of play around with it so we can launch this onto a Raspberry Pi and see how things work too. And that's my goal. So follow me on my personal Twitch, and I'm going to be doing more of this, and start to do this kind of example of how do we develop code, right? And kind of in in like IoT devices on Raspberry Pi, for example. It's actually, I did find out that there are already some folks too in the Java community too, kind of using HiveMQ to basically launch on Raspberry Pi too. So you can kind of look that up too. I didn't kind of save that information if you are interested, right? So okay, so as you can see, it's all of these things, and like I said too, the nice thing about it, you can have small devices, but these, right, you have extension SDK that actually can connect to all of the enterprise things like Kafka, Oracle, all of these things, MongoDB, Redis, and I'm sure too, right, you can do it. But I don't see Guy today, otherwise I can invite Guy to be up here. And again, right, you can have HiveMQ is running on the broker. And the thing is too, is that it also has HiveMQ cloud platform. So it's managed cloud platform. So you don't worry necessarily have to worry so much about scaling. If you have a broker, you need to scale it and all of these things. You let the cloud platform manage it for you too. And it can be running on AWS, Azure, Google Cloud Platform, Kubernetes, and OpenShift, and all of these things too. So yeah, it should be quite interesting. Now the thing is, I was going to say let's kind of get busy, because even I wanted to start to deploy it. I'm going to have to start working with it soon, right? So I figured this is the time. So I kind of, if you kind of go to this website, right, the Get Hive MQ, and so that's what I do, right? So you can actually use the Hive MQ Cloud. It's actually a free MQTT broker that can connect up to 100 devices. And then you can also install the broker yourself too. You can run it locally too. So now what I did in this case is I downloaded the local one for now. Maybe next week when I go into my own stream, I can then we'll work on the cloud side too. But so this part I've already done. So download is basically, I also have Docker installed. And also in this case too, you actually have the AMI too. You can also use AMI. So I think if you have AWS, you can actually download the AMI too. But for me, I do not currently have an AWS account, so I'm going to run it locally on Docker for now. And in this case too, I've already downloaded it. So, okay, so actually, I just downloaded it. So let me kind of go over here, and okay, and let me see, where is it? Okay. Oh, okay. So okay, let me kind of quick start. Oh, okay. So I can actually do it on here too. Yeah, actually, why don't I do it like this? Download and run Hive MQ. Running the Hive MQ trial with Docker is the simplest way. Okay, let's do it like that, because like I said, I downloaded the installer, but I think let's do the we'll work on it next time with the install version, but let's do it with Docker. Let me kind of bring up my let me grab my uh, shell over, my favorite shell. What color do we like today? Or let's use a red. Okay, let me do this. Oh, this one. Oops. Okay, here we go. Okay, here we go. All right, so let's do that and Docker run. Let me make sure my Docker is running. Actually, my Docker is not running, so give me a second. Let me bring up my Docker desktop. I think I had to upgrade the version, so of my system, I didn't bring back up Docker. Okay, where am I? Okay, here we go. Oh, I guess. Oh yeah, I think they're gonna start charging, but for now, I think grace period, right, until January 31st. That is very true. If we want to use Docker Desktop, we have to pay. But I think the existing Docker free subscription has been named Docker Personal, and we have introduced a Docker Business subscription. So I wonder if it's the personal subscription will be $5, I think, right, per month. I may end up actually still subscribing, because this will facilitate, right, some of the things. Otherwise, too, I think the options is to use what you call use Podman, right? That the Red Hat has Podman too. So I haven't getting got that. And let me do this one thing. Let me bring my Docker. I'm not sure. Let's see if anybody of you are talking. I think it's probably getting late now, right? By like almost 10, 11 o'clock over at where Timeless Potato and Fusnabo are, right? So maybe you're quiet. So yeah, like I said, I don't know how I always end up starting this stream later than I think. Okay, so this is my Docker that's desktop, so I'm okay. I have things in here. Okay, okay, so my Docker is running. Let me go back in here. Okay, so Docker run. Let me do this. Okay. Let me copy that. Oh, of course. Copy the dollar as well. Okay, so it's actually 8080, and then I guess it's the port mapping. Okay, there's also, okay, all right. I'm not sure. Dash P is the first one. Okay, I just have to kind of take a look. So while this is going, let's go over here. Okay. Actually, let me do that. Docker. I just want to know dash P. What does dash P do? Why am I why am I not able? Oh, command help. Okay, let me uh port. Oh, private port and proto? Is that what it is? But the thing is, see, this is still going, but the thing is, oh, Docker run dash P. Okay, there we go. That's what I was trying to look for. Okay, this basically publisher containers uh, ports to the host. So the list is essentially, okay, so I'm not understanding like why we are doing it like that. So I think it's map. Okay, so 8080 is basically mapped to the external, right? Internal and then external, and then we're mapping both ways. Is that right? Oh, I see. We have Hive MQ and then Hive MQ4, so two different versions. I think. Okay. All right. Okay. Well, anyway, let's see. This is still going. I think it's almost there. Um, almost there. So once it's there, then we can then try the next step. Okay, here we go. 407. Okay. Okay, that's fine. It says I'm not secure, which is okay for now. I'm again, these are like test thing. So, folks, if you want to, right, you can just go to the. Actually, I didn't even save that for you, so the Docker install. Okay, so that's the one I kind of thought I should have printed out sooner, but I didn't. Okay, so here we go. So my broker is started. So these are like default. Okay, no big deal. Okay, here we go. Second step: navigate with our browser to localhost 8080 and open that control center. Okay, actually, I am going to be needing also another here, right? So localhost. Okay, and then we log on with admin and HiveMQ. Ah, there we go. Nice. This is kind of like using. Okay, wonderful. So now this is very cool. So you can also give this a try, and then an MQTT client can be connected to HiveMQ on port 1883 now. Okay. So okay, so and client. So okay, let's take a look. Maybe we can develop this client library, Encyclopedia. Okay, so I'm just gonna continue doing this, and if folks, if you're tired or something, don't worry about it. I may be talking to myself, but you please welcome by all means. Also connect with me on the chat too. But because I haven't done this, so let me also take a look at this. Okay, so the MQTT client library encyclopedia. Okay, so featured the client created by the team. So let's see. See, yeah. So that's an interesting thing too. I actually wanted to connect my device right over to the broker, but we can figure out in a little bit. But that's kind of like isn't it amazing? Sometimes when you haven't tried something, first time you look at it, you have to figure it out, and that's what I'm doing. So yeah, so you're all welcome to also try it too. Ah, that's very cool. So which one should we do? So let's do mqtt.js. Should we actually do mqtt JavaScript? Because I don't need to say it, but sometimes too with JavaScript is a bit more like faster. I mean, yeah, scaling is another issue, but let's not worry about that. But what I'm trying to say is that let's kind of take a look, maybe do it like JavaScript, because I'm kind of assuming that this might be kind of quite direct. So let's take a look. Okay, okay, and see they already have this ready. So okay, okay, let's go over here. But let's kind of read it first. So the MQTT JavaScript provides a full-featured JavaScript library for the MQTT protocol. It is fully isomorphic, which means it can run in the browser and in Node.js, right? Greater than the point 0.8 version, including Intel Edison and Raspberry Pis. And in fact, it is bundled in base image of the Intel Edison. The library was originally written by Adam Rudd in May 2011. It has been upgraded to all versions of Node.js since then. And in 2014, Matteo Collina took over as a maintainer. And since version 1, it supports MQTT over WebSockets, both in Node.js and in the browser. The library is production ready and used by some Fortune 500 companies. It can support long running clients with spotty connectivity. It has an optional on disk storage for local offline messaging, and it's became the MQTT.js is an open source last January. It had 55 contributors in its history, a team of 4 that maintains. So okay, that's very cool. So let's take a look. And that's another thing I wanted to talk about too. There are different versions too. So MQTT, the current version is more on, I think the MQTT 3 or 4, they are more on the same, along the same line. I think MQTT 5. Let's take a look. So MQTT, what I was talking about, right? MQTT 5 would have all of the things that MQTT 3 has. 3 and also like previous prior to 5 too. But let's then take a look. MQTT 5 essentials, right? So it seems like this kind of like is a major kind of kind of a feature kind of improvement over the 3. But basically it's saying that is the biggest and most feature rich update of MQTT protocol ever. So MQTT 5 Essential Series. Okay, so they have all of these. So we could actually kind of take a look at this too. Okay. Okay, so it's basically very popular. Okay, and basically, okay, let's take a look at the Google Trends sheet too. Oh, I guess, okay, and somehow there's something. Okay, no problem. Since its introduction, MQTT has successfully connected countless numbers of constrained devices in deployments of all sizes. So you can actually have use cases range from cars. I mean, just think of it's true too. You have your vehicles. It can be cars. I suppose if you do motorcycles too, you can have it right. Anything kind of vehicles, manufacturing systems, logistics, military, to an enterprise chat applications and mobile apps. And so I think that's why too it is very popular because it can support so many different things in many different ways. Right? It's not you can get it to work in enterprise kind of environment by using the extension pack 2 for if you're using HiveMQ, right? And so basically MQTT 5 seeks to meet the demand too. So the essentials, right? And like I said, right, there's a bunch of blog post series. Okay, so yeah, so folks, if you want to read the essentials series too, so this is some basic, if you will, kind of like MQTT basic essentials like series, right? So this one is from HiveMQ, oops, HiveMQ I think HiveMQ, I have to say, is probably like the best, one of the best kind of, even though it's commercial company, but they also have community version that's free too. But of course, if you want something kind of more powerful for more enterprisey, then you have to turn to doing the paid version. So anyway, I'm sharing with these MQTT essentials if you want to start learning about it too. Some of the pops up thing, but like I said, I've been a bit kind of eager to get to know MQTT 5 because up till now, what I've read about is MQTT. But let me also get into the MQTT 5 version. Um, okay, then they will be, so you want to kind of basically study MQTT 3.11 first, because again, MQTT 5 is like aggregate, right? It takes in what's the best from MQTT 3 and it extends further with some newer topics, right? Oh, okay. So over here, what I was talking to you about is what I essentially is captured here. The timeline, right? It's 1999 MQTT, and then 2010 is when MQTT 3.1 royalty-free release came, and then over time too, like it gets into MQTT 5, which is in 2018, so 3 years ago. Uh, and there's also open source version since then, right? Oasis standard in 2019. So okay, let me see. Okay. And it says, all of these is basically MQTT is governed by the Oasis committee, right? So Oasis, again, is another kind of committee, just like, when you hear about Eclipse Foundation or Apache, all of these. So Oasis is another organization that has a lot of different specs, right? Open source kind of specs, community driven type of system. So that's always a good thing if you kind of do things that are more the open standards, and it's always good too. So, okay. And here, and okay, so I basically wanted to, okay, so all of these things, you can read up on it here too, but here they're talking about working around here, but they did, I was hoping to look for MQTT 5, like a bullet list of what it would be, kind of over that. Well, okay, here. So at least two. I'm sorry, I kind of over. Yeah. So basically, the reason for the MQTT 5 is to add features that long-term users want without increasing overhead or decreasing ease of use, and in improved performance and scalability. I think that's what it is, right? A lot of these systems nowadays are, when they are better, it means they want to improve the performance and scalability. And essentially, too, for MQTT 5 specification, enhancement for scalability and large scale systems, improved error reporting, formalized common patterns, including capability discovery and request response, and extensibility mechanisms, including user properties. So a bit more customization, right? Looks like performance improvement support for small clients, too. So I think those are kind of like more like the major things that been kind of put into doing the version 5. So okay, so with this understanding, so let's kind of go back into our original plan is to do a simple JavaScript client, right? And let's kind of go back in here. Uh, where am I? Okay, here we go. So we will need Node.js installed to use MQTT.js. So let's do that. Like I said, if we have time, we'll also do a Java one. But like I said, sometimes I have to kind of admit with JavaScript for kind of quick demo thing is a bit more is faster, right? Kind of thing. So um, doesn't mean Java isn't good, but if you want to do more serious kind of more scalable thing, you choose Java, right? Kind of more enterprising. So okay, so let me do it in here. I call it Twitch, and then let me do a. I don't think let's do an MQTT directory. This is where I keep my MQTT things. Okay, so here we go. npm install. Oh, I don't have. Oh, of course. I thought. Oh, you know why? I actually used to have npm, but because I had to replace my machine, so my npm isn't there. Okay, all right. Now, how do I do npm install? Okay, let me. You know what? Let me see. It shouldn't take that long. Install. Right. Install. Actually, this uh, downloading and install this guy. Okay, so I basically do not have my Okay, sorry guys. I know I ended up doing these things. I don't have Node, yeah, and I don't have NPM. Okay, yeah. Node.js installer or OSS. Use one of the installers from the Node.js download. Okay, and NVM, right? Okay, so here we go. I think I might be faster to do NVM, right? Okay, so okay, it hopefully it won't take too long because once we have it, then we should be able to quickly kind of run through this client. But in the meantime, while that is downloading, kind of okay, I don't want to lose this page, so let me move tap to the right. Okay, and let's go back to oops. I guess we can always do Java too, right? Actually, users getting started. Client. I'm looking for the client. Let me go back. Developers. Getting started. Let me go back to getting started. Yeah, that's where I was, but try out, download. Oh, here we go. All right, that's where I wanted to go to. Like I said, we can do Eclipse. Use the HiveMQ MQTT client library too, which is over here. I don't think it would be like taking too long too, but we can also do it like quite quickly. But it's just that sometimes, right, when you do Java, sometimes it just takes a couple more steps. That's why I thought, well, given the time we have, maybe let me do it. Node. Let's see. Okay, my node is done, so that's good. Where is it? Okay. Oh, it comes back into here. So let me kind of do that. Kind of bring this over here. My node. Okay. 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 Let me move this out of the way. Okay, so it hopefully won't take too long, and then okay, cool. Close. I think good. All done. Okay. Okay, move to trash. Okay, good. All right, here we go. So now I am good, and let me go back to here. That's the Java client. Okay, here. Let's install MQTT. So, good. What is it? Oh, I have to minor version. 820. All right. Well, I guess it might be faster. So. Oh, what funding? 5 packages over funding. Oh, well, I guess that's not necessary anyway. I was hoping to upgrade. Not sure. Permission to access. Oh, I just don't have. Okay, there we go. So now it's good. So I just want to make sure it is the latest. Okay. Oh, there's also this version of using embedded CLI tools. I think I may as well. Wait, and what is going on now? Remove some packages, change 24, audited 215 packages in 4 seconds, 3 moderate severity vulnerabilities. Okay, okay, let me kind of npm audit. Oh, it says no. So why do I? Okay, I'll fix it anyway. I mean, okay, that's cool. But the thing is, too, is over here. I should have read the next thing, which is to develop using the embedded CLI tools. Oh, and I always forget. Which is sudo. Okay, cool. So I think now I've embedded CLI tools. So connect to the broker by using mqtt.connect and then URL and the options. And the URL can be following protocols: MQTT, MQTTS, TCP, TLS, WS, and WSS. URL can also be an object as returned by URL.parse. In that case, the two objects are merged. You can pass a single object with both the URL and the connect options. You can also specify a server's options with content like host and then port. That array is iterated at every connect. Okay. And now we can connect with, with this, with the connect once we define those things. And then LWT can be set in the connect function like the following. Okay, and then connect with password 2 and then publish, do the publish and subscribe. Okay, well, I'm going a little too fast. I'm so sorry. Okay, here we go. This is connecting to MQTT 3. So I guess, okay, so over there, LWT, what is LWT? Let me kind of take a look. LWT, I need to figure out what is LWT. Huh. Well, if you're still kind of following me in here, I'm just trying to figure out what the LWT is. Let me kind of take a look at this. I'm not sure, but in any event, I think okay. So we can also connect like this is what it is. So okay, so in that case, I wonder if that means I can then connect. Once I connect, then I can basically do a client, but the client needs to publish to the topic. So, uh, but I don't know topic. Okay, well, it's called that, and well, whatever it is. But it's basically topic would be the topic to publish to. So just like regular sub, right? And I'm sorry, I think somebody, the bots kind of keep bothering, and I just have to block you. I am very sorry, but okay. And message is the message to publish, and okay. And then options are the options to publish with, including QoS level, as I mentioned, quality of service. You have different quality of service, right? Level 0, 1, or 2. I actually forgot about exactly. It's basically, I think it's saying that whether your message arrives, what you should be doing at the different levels. If the message didn't get delivered, then there are different levels of how do you handle that. And there's also retain flag, right? Whether you want to retain the message or not after delivering. Callback fired when the QoS handling completes or the next tick with QoS 0. So let's kind of take a look, kind of go back to here and talk, looking at the different QoS, this kind of documentation. I want to kind of take a look. There we go. QoS level. So that's important too, especially in message delivery, because you don't want messages to, especially in asynchronous kind of situation, messages get published, but you don't know if anybody has picked up or is it the delivery is successful. So it's very important. So it's also important then to understand quality of service, right? And wanting to, yeah, there we go. So QoS, you have different levels. It's basically agreement between the sender of a message and the receiver of a message that defines the guarantee of delivery for a specific message. And there are three levels, right? So in Mqtt, you have at most once, so you know that it gets delivered once, that's 0, or at least once is 1, and then exactly once is 2. That's kind of interesting. These are like the three different levels. So when you talk about QoS in Mqtt, you need to consider the two sides of message delivery. One is message delivery from the publishing client to the broker, and then message delivery from the broker to the subscribing client. So there are like always these things. We need to always look at the two sides of this too, because there are subtle differences between the two. So the client that publishes the message to the broker defines the QoS level of the message when it sends the message to the broker. The broker transmits this message to subscribing clients using the QoS level that each subscribing client defines during the subscription process. So that's very important. You can have so many different subscribing clients. They all can have different level of QoS kind of levels too. So basically, broker really has to make sure broker is very important in this kind of communication because you want to guarantee delivery, right? Exactly once, or at least once, or exactly one, right? Or something like that, isn't it? At most once, okay, at most once, exactly one, or more than, actually, so at least once. So basically, at most once and at least once is kind of like the kind of a same, and exactly once is basically level 2. That's always confused me. If you guys, if you have actually done was it like with XML? Um, what is it? XSLT, like XML transfer. If you have done that before too, there are also, or actually, I'm just trying to think too. What is it? Yeah, that's right. Dealing with XML too, there are also different, uh, like indicator, right? If you want it at most ones, at least ones, or exactly ones, that type of semantic being built into that kind of a language, like kind of level of manipulating all of your messages, right? So okay. And so I won't get into all of the details. You can kind of read about this too. So I can share this with you. Again, messaging, kind of any kind of quality of service, right? Quality of service, right? These are like in a messaging, right? That's very important. But in this case, we're using the MQTT OS, right? Specifically from. So that's kind of like nice, it explains all of these things to you. So if you're kind of into this thing, you can kind of read about it too. These are important things. So that guarantees, right, your messages don't get kind of misdelivered or not delivered correctly. So okay, so that's what it is. And so you can see to client can subscribe, subscribe to like in this case presence is basically the topic in here. And then client, like on message, then what will it do, right? It prints it out, right? So I think that's what we can do. And then once you're done, you can do an unsubscribe to the topic or the topic array. So yeah, and then you can also then use SSL, TLS, you add authentication security to it too. So you basically can do this. Okay, so this is a guest blog post. Apparently, as you can see, it is a very kind of a basic one, right? And so let me kind of take a look. I think what we can do, scroll back into here, right? This is the client example, right? And example MQTT client in JavaScript. So it's basically using Node. Okay, so if you're interested in this too, you can take a look into this. But what I wanted to now go into this GitHub, and basically we should be able to then clone this and try this out. So actually, you know what? Let me clone it to our my our Twitch, lab, my Mary G lab too. So let's do that and fork it. Let's fork it. Oh, okay. And you know what? I have to use this because if it doesn't work, okay, fine. That's my thing. And let me just. I cannot remember because I also have to get my authentication. Hold on. Where's my? Isn't it amazing? We have like so many devices and everything all the time. So, and I'm realizing that I've been already doing this for two. Uh, I've been doing this for like 2 hours, more than 2 hours. So I'm gonna be planning on ending this pretty soon. But let me. What I want to do is try to just at least just run this client, a JavaScript client over here fast. So give me a second, and I cannot find. Okay, here we go. Okay, cool. Okay, I have just cloned this, and so now that's me, and we can go to my lab. Okay, why am I? Okay, here we go. I just fork it, and where did it go? Oh, you know what? I fork it not to my specific one. Okay, so that's fine too. That's kind of for the interest of time. Let me go back to my. Oops. Wait, did I fork it over there? Did I do it over here? Where did I fork it to? Didn't I go to the MQTT? No. Then where did I do it? Sometimes, which means I might not have done it over here. Okay. Let me kind of go back. Oh, you know why? Because I didn't tell it to where it is. Okay, so yeah, so you can also do that. Well, here we go. I am here now. So if you want to, again, if you want to join me on this particular repository, let me know. I can add you too. But like I said, over here. That's the GitHub lab that I have in here. So you can find the mqtt.js. Let me let me kind of like, oops, ah, wrong keystroke. Here we go. All right, so now we got this. So let me kind of take a look, right? So I should be able to then, is it npm? How do I run it? I kind of cannot. Sometimes I don't do it enough. Cannot remember. That was the getting started. I just have to go back to the instruction here. Okay, so it just tells me what to do, but it doesn't. It just gives me the different things. I was hoping to just simply take a one of these example and run with it, right? Is that simply like run? Okay, well, it doesn't do anything, but folks, the JavaScript expert, please help me out. Run the script name food. Okay, install to my project. This project test. Okay, let me just do that. So to see a list of script. Okay, so I basically have to install, right, to my project. Oh, okay. So I should be able to say install. Um, so this wouldn't be right. So basically, oh, can I just say run and then okay, that's not what I meant. Like that. I cannot remember how I run it. Somebody helped me out, and we're just doing like install. So I thought there's like a an example in here. So I have installed the client, but oops. Oh, it's a directory. Sorry, no wonder. There we go. Example. There we go. Oh, is it like this? Huh? There we go. It wasn't in the right place. No wonder. Um, Test, right? So we can do a test. Prepare, run browser build, and then run tests, right? Can I do an npm test? Oh, standard. Standard or snazzy? Is it standard? Oh, wait. See what happens when I don't use it enough that I don't remember. Let me do the readme. Okay, so this is just giving you some instruction, right? And I thought they might already have a, example. Okay, so these are basically just all, oh, okay, I do actually do need to get going. So you know what I'll do? So at least two, as you can see, right? We install this JavaScript client, but like I said, you can also like do Java as well. So Java, for example, what I was hoping to do. You know what I'll do? I may just run this stream on my personal stream if I have some time over the week. Although, well, weekend I have to go to a wedding, my nephew's wedding. Um, so I probably won't have time. But otherwise, too, next week, right? Either I run it this stream on my own. So follow me starting next week on my personal stream, and let me kind of make sure too. I have this for all of you. Okay, let me create a banner and basically Twitch. Uh, Starting. Okay. Okay, so follow me on my Twitch channel and over here too. So starting in, please follow me. Okay, so if you want, it's directly also on the comment. So if you want to follow me in there, then what I'll do is I'll pick up from there, and then we can continue then working on this HiveMQ client. And well, some kind of strange thing for some reason it's not. Okay, that's fine. I think for some reason I'm receiving an error. So in any event, I just want to thank you because I realize I've been running this for two and a half hours, and then I do need to get going. That's why my blinking. Somebody is calling me. I need to get ready for another commitment. So since this is kind of like holiday week, so thank you so much, everybody, and I wish you all a very happy New Year and be safe. Stay healthy. App Boy, if you're still here, get well soon. And if anybody, you have anything, that bothers you, whatever it is, I hope that your problem will go away, right, in the new year, or you have found ways of, not let those kind of problems get to you, right? If you have issues, feel free to share with us in the community if you like. Not like we're social worker or psychologist, but sometimes too, it helps too if there are things that bothers you. You want to talk about it rather than kind of getting like all depressed by it, right? So that's the whole point. So with that, thank you all. Like I said, thank you for following me here on IBM Developer. And starting 2022, starting next week in January, please follow me on my personal Twitch, and I will continue to do more example everything that we're doing in here. So, but I wanted to kind of say thank you very much for all of you to have having joined me. I was hoping to do more stuff too, but so thank you, and all right then, and please take care.